Have you ever felt like fear is holding you back from reaching your true potential? What if I told you that fear isn't the problem, but the key to unlocking your greatest strength? Here's the truth. Every successful person, every leader, every trailblazer, they've all felt the same fear you're facing right now. It's not about avoiding fear. It's about learning how to use it to propel you forward. Stick with me, and in the next few minutes, you'll discover the simple, actionable steps to turn that fear into unstoppable courage and confidence. Let me take you back to a time when I was paralyzed by fear. It wasn't long ago, and I know you'll relate. I had an opportunity, one that could have changed everything. But the moment I was asked to take the leap, my heart raced, my palms sweated, and my mind immediately started creating a list of what-ifs. What if I failed? What if I embarrassed myself? What if I wasn't good enough? You've been there too, haven't you? That moment when doubt creeps in, and the fear of failure stops you dead in your tracks. I remember standing there, frozen, watching everyone around me confidently take the plunge, while I stayed in the shadows, too scared to even try. It was a simple decision, something as ordinary as speaking in front of a group, but in my mind, it was the biggest mountain I had ever faced. I was so afraid of messing up, so afraid of looking foolish, that I almost missed out on a chance that could have transformed my life. It wasn't just the fear of failing that kept me stuck. It was the fear of being judged, the fear of not meeting expectations, the fear of being exposed for not being good enough. But then, something clicked. I realized that everyone, yes, everyone, faces fear. It's not just you. It's not just me. Fear is universal. But the difference between those who let fear control them and those who use it to fuel their success is simple. Action. I had to make a choice. Either I would let fear win and stay stuck in my comfort zone, or I would take that first step, even if it meant trembling in the process. And that's what I did. I took that step, and it wasn't perfect. I stumbled, I fumbled through my words, but you know what? I survived. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. The fear didn't disappear, but it no longer had the power to paralyze me. I want you to think about a time in your life when fear held you back. Maybe it was a job opportunity, a relationship, or even just standing up for yourself. Think about that fear. Was it real? Was it as big as you imagined? You'll find, like I did, that fear is often just an illusion. It's a voice in your head trying to protect you, but not always in the best way. The trick is to recognize that fear is simply a signal that you are about to do something meaningful, something that challenges you to grow. So what happens when you decide to face that fear? You become stronger. You build resilience. You realize that you can handle the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the doubt. And the best part, every time you confront fear, you get a little braver, a little more confident. Fear isn't something you need to run from. It's something you can use to propel yourself forward, to move past the limits you've set for yourself. Now, I want you to stop and think about your own fears for a moment. What's been holding you back? What's that one thing you've been avoiding because of fear? It could be something big or small, but I want you to acknowledge it. And now, imagine what your life could look like if you didn't let that fear control you. Imagine taking action despite the fear, knowing that with each step, you're not just moving toward your goal. You're becoming the fearless version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. So, here's the challenge. Face that fear. Take that first step, even if it's small. The more you do, the easier it becomes. The path won't always be clear, but trust me, every moment you choose courage over fear, you get closer to the person you were always meant to be. And as you do, you'll look back and realize that fear was never the enemy. It was the fuel for your growth. Now that we've explored how fear holds us back and how facing it can transform our lives, let's dive into the practical steps you can take to start turning fear into fuel for your success. These are quick, actionable tips that you can start using today. Ready? Here we go. 1. Stop overthinking. Start doing. The longer you think about the fear, the bigger it grows in your mind. If you've ever caught yourself replaying a scenario over and over in your head, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get stuck in a loop of what-ifs, and your fear takes control. So, here's the trick. Stop thinking and start doing. Action kills fear. Whether it's sending that email, making that phone call, or simply taking a small step towards your goal, just do it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There's no such thing. Start now, even if it's not perfect. 2. Break it down. Small steps lead to big results. Fear often feels overwhelming because it's tied to something big. But here's the thing. No matter how big the task, you can always break it down into smaller, manageable pieces. If you're afraid of public speaking, start by talking to a friend. If you're afraid of starting a business, begin by researching or brainstorming ideas in a journal. Every small step you take adds up to progress, and before you know it, you've conquered something you once thought was impossible. 3. Practice exposure. Face your fear gradually. You're not going to wake up one day completely fearless, but here's the secret. Exposure. The more you face what scares you, the less control it has over you. Start small and build your confidence gradually. If you're terrified of speaking in public, practice in front of a mirror. Then, speak to one person, then a group of friends. Eventually, you'll feel more comfortable in situations that once seemed terrifying. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act despite it. 4. Replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations. We've all been there. Those negative, fear-driven thoughts that tell us we're not good enough. But here's the key to overcoming them. Challenge those thoughts. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, replace it with, I am capable. I am strong. I can handle this. The more you repeat these positive affirmations, the more you rewire your brain to think differently. Fear thrives on negativity, but confidence thrives on positivity. 5. Surround yourself with supportive people. Fear can feel isolating, but it doesn't have to be. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who encourage you to take risks, and who remind you of your strength. When you have a support system in place, it's easier to face your fears head-on. Find mentors, friends, or even online communities who share your goals and dreams. They will help keep you accountable and remind you that you're not alone in this journey. And here's the thing, you're capable of more than you think. Every time you take one of these actions, you're building momentum. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. The fear will always be there, but so will your courage. And with each step you take, you'll get stronger, braver, and more unstoppable than ever. Wait a second. Did you catch that? I want to stop here for a moment and really break something down. This is where most people mess up, where they fall into the trap of thinking that fear should stop them. So, let me ask you this. What if fear isn't something you need to run from? What if it's something you need to embrace? Think about it. How often do we hear that fear is a sign to retreat, to stop? But what if, instead, it's a sign that you're about to step into something greater? What if the fear you feel is the very thing you need to succeed? Here's the twist. When you're on the verge of stepping out of your comfort zone, fear becomes a signal that growth is just around the corner. It's the universe's way of telling you you're on the right path. Let me say it again. Fear isn't here to hurt you. It's here to help you grow. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Yeah, right, but what if I fail? What if I make a fool of myself? Let's pause and talk about failure for a minute. Most people see failure as the end. But what if I told you that failure is simply the beginning? Every time you try, every time you fall, you're learning. You're growing. Failure is not your enemy. It's your best teacher. Let me take it a step further. Imagine if you were afraid of nothing. Would you still be challenged? Would you still grow? Think about it. The discomfort, the struggle, that's where the magic happens. Without fear, without those moments of doubt, there's no reason to push yourself beyond what you already know. Without fear, there's no growth. So, here's the big question. Are you going to let fear decide your future? Or are you going to flip the script and make fear your ally? It's your choice. The key to breaking free from the grip of fear is to see it for what it really is. A motivator, a force that drives you to break through your own limitations. Hold on. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever noticed that the people who seem the most fearless are often the ones who have failed the most? They've fallen. They've been rejected. They've stumbled. But instead of quitting, they've learned to pick themselves up and try again. That's the secret. Fear doesn't disappear. You just learn to rise each time it knocks you down. Here's where most people fail. They expect fear to just vanish. But what happens is they keep waiting for that perfect, fear-free moment to act. But let me tell you something, there's no such thing. Waiting for fear to go away is like waiting for the rain to stop before you leave the house. It'll never happen. Instead, what if you just ran outside with an umbrella and danced in the rain? What if you use fear as your cue to act, knowing that the more you face it, the smaller it gets? So, I want you to think about that the next time you feel fear creeping in. Instead of backing down, take that deep breath, smile, and take one step forward. Because you know what? That step, that's where the magic happens. That's where you move from stuck to unstoppable. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, and you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I make it real? How do I start taking action now? Stay with me, because we're not done yet. There's more to this, and I promise. It's going to change the way you approach fear forever. Let that sink in for a second. You've got this. You're on the edge of something incredible. Fear is simply the reminder that you are about to do something amazing. So, are you ready to move from fear to fearless? The real journey starts now. Let's slow things down for a second and really dive deep into something that's going to shift how you see fear forever. The truth is, overcoming fear isn't about pushing through it or trying to eliminate it. That's where most people get it wrong. They try to avoid fear, ignore it, or wish it away. But that's not how you break free from its hold. The key to moving from fear to fearless lies in understanding a fundamental truth. Fear is a part of the process, not the enemy. And here's the first insight I want to share with you. Focus on systems, not just goals. Too often, people set a goal, whether it's launching a business, losing weight, or writing a book, and they get consumed by the end result. They obsess over the finish line, the end game. But here's the thing. Goals alone don't make you fearless. In fact, when you focus only on the goal, the fear of falling short can overwhelm you. The real secret is to shift your attention from the outcome to the process. When you focus on building a system, a series of small, repeatable actions, you take the pressure off the goal. Systems give you structure, consistency, and direction. They don't allow fear to sabotage your progress because fear can't control daily habits. Want to start a business? Build a system for researching, networking, and working on it every day, not just dreaming about the end result. Want to lose weight? Instead of obsessing over a number on the scale, create a system for healthy eating and exercise that you can follow each day. This is how you move from feeling stuck to making progress, no matter how small. Fear becomes a natural part of the journey, but it no longer stops you. Here's the second insight. Learn to use discomfort as your guide, not your prison. So many people shy away from discomfort, from things that push them out of their comfort zone. But the truth is, discomfort is where growth happens. It's a signal that you're stretching, expanding, and moving towards something greater. The best moments of my life, the ones that changed everything, happened when I was uncomfortable, scared, and uncertain. If you're afraid of something, that's a good sign. It means you're stepping into uncharted territory, and that's where growth lies. Instead of letting discomfort push you back into safety, use it as a sign to lean in. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding here? What is this discomfort trying to teach me? Every time you face discomfort, you're building strength. Every time you embrace it, you're proving to yourself that fear doesn't define you. You define how you respond to it. The more you embrace discomfort, the more fearless you become. Next up, success is about adaptation, not perfection. We're often told that success is about getting everything right, making the perfect decision, or achieving flawless execution. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Success is a series of messy, imperfect steps. It's about learning from your mistakes, adapting to your environment, and adjusting your course as you go. The most successful people didn't get everything right the first time, but they learned how to adapt. The fear of not being perfect often holds people back. They get so caught up in trying to make everything perfect, they never start. They're afraid of making mistakes. But perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist. The key to overcoming that fear of imperfection is to embrace the process of trial and error. Every misstep is a lesson. Every mistake is an opportunity to improve. Fear of imperfection is paralyzing, but the willingness to adapt is empowering. Now, this one is critical. You are the sum of your daily actions. If you want to move from fear to fearless, you have to realize that your transformation starts with what you do each day. It's easy to look at someone who seems fearless and think they were just born that way, but that's not the truth. They became fearless because of the small, consistent actions they took every day, even when they were scared. Fearless people aren't immune to fear. They've simply learned how to act in the face of it. The key is to build habits that support the person you want to become. If you're afraid of failure, stop focusing on the fear and start focusing on daily actions that move you closer to your goals. Whether it's setting aside time for self-care, investing in learning something new, or taking that first step toward a big goal, the compound effect of small actions is what leads to massive change. Your future self won't be the result of one big leap. It will be the result of countless small, brave steps taken every day. And finally, fear is a signal, not a stop sign. The last piece of insight I want to leave you with is this. Fear is not something to be avoided or feared. Fear is a signal that you're on the brink of something meaningful, something that will stretch you and help you grow. Instead of seeing fear as a sign to quit, see it as a sign that you're on the right track. Fear often appears when we're about to do something that matters, something that will make a difference. It's your brain's way of alerting you to something important. Instead of running from it, lean into it. Use it as fuel. When you feel fear, know that you're about to learn, grow, and become better. These insights are your toolkit for facing fear head-on. Fear doesn't have to stop you. It can be the catalyst that propels you toward your next level. Focus on systems, embrace discomfort, adapt, act consistently, and use fear as a signal. Fearless doesn't mean fearless in the way you might think. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about learning how to act in spite of it. And when you do that, you will realize that fear doesn't have control over you. You do. Now that we've broken down the process of facing fear and transforming it into something that fuels your success, I want to take this moment to hear from you. I'm sure you've felt that weight of fear before, whether it's about making a big decision, taking a risk, or stepping into something new. So, I want to ask you, what's the fear that's holding you back right now? Maybe it's the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, or even the fear of not being good enough. We all face different fears, but the most important thing is recognizing them and owning them. You don't need to let those fears define you. You can choose to rise above them. So, what's your biggest goal right now? What's the thing you've been too afraid to pursue? I want you to take a moment and really reflect on it. Think about what that fear is trying to protect you from, but also think about what you're missing out on by not facing it. Comment below and share your thoughts. Tell me about the fear that's holding you back and what your biggest goal is. I'd love to hear what's going on in your mind, and I'm here to help you work through it. Maybe it's that one thing you've been avoiding because of fear. But now, after hearing what we've discussed, you're ready to take the first step. Let's start a conversation. You're not alone in this journey. There's a community of people here who are facing their own fears and pushing through them. We're all in this together, so don't be afraid to speak up. Share your story. What's been the biggest fear you've overcome in the past? What's still on your horizon? I promise you, By opening up and sharing, you'll inspire someone else who's in the exact same spot as you. Fear thrives in silence, but when we speak it out loud, we take away its power. And hey, if you're ready to start acting on that fear right now, let me know. I'm here for you every step of the way. Let's break it down together. Let's set those small, manageable steps and start moving forward. I want to hear what your first step is going to be. If this video resonated with you and you feel like you're ready to move from fear to fearless, don't forget to like this video and hit that notification bell so we can continue this journey together. And make sure you share this video with someone who might need a little push today. You never know who's struggling with the same fear you are. Remember, it's not about waiting for fear to disappear. It's about choosing to act despite it. Fearless doesn't mean no fear. It means moving forward regardless. And together, we can do that. So drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let's get started. You've got this. Your future self will thank you. As we wrap up today's journey from fear to fearless, I want you to stop for a moment and really think about the power you have within you. The truth is, fear will always be a part of life. But what matters is how you choose to respond to it. You have the ability to turn your fear into something that pushes you forward rather than holding you back. You are stronger than you think, braver than you realize, and more capable than you can imagine. Now, let me leave you with this powerful truth. The greatest danger in life isn't fear. It's in never acting because of it. Imagine living your life years down the road and realizing that fear held you back from your dreams, from your potential. What would that feel like? I'm here to tell you that the only way to avoid that regret is by making the choice right now, today, to face your fear head on. Your future self is counting on you to take that first step. It doesn't matter how small the step is, just as long as you take it. That one small action today, whether it's a phone call, writing down a goal, or facing a fear you've been avoiding, will begin to change your life. You can start right now, in this moment. You don't have to wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is always right now. And here's the thing. The more you face your fears, the more fearless you become. It's not about being free of fear. It's about being free to act despite it. Every time you push through, you gain more confidence. Every time you rise above your fear, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more unstoppable. Fear loses its grip on you, and you gain control over your destiny. So, I challenge you. Take one step today that scares you. Whether it's something big or small, do it. Face it, challenge it, and watch how it transforms you. When you do this, you're not just moving from fear to fearless. You're becoming the person you were always meant to be. The version of you that looks fear in the face and says, "I'm not backing down." The road ahead won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. And when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. Fear will no longer have a hold on you. You'll be standing on the other side, stronger and bolder, ready to take on the world. So, remember this, your future self is counting on you. Start today. You have everything inside of you to face your fears and transform your life. And there's no better time than now to begin. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Your fear might try to stop you, but you are the one who gets to decide your fate. Now go out there, take action, and make the choice to be fearless. The world is waiting for you.